more problems in Kenya. They're trying to impeach their vice president. It seems like Ruto is doing this to try to keep more power. Ruto is a tyrant. We don't need to mince our words.
Ruto's allies have launched an impeachment motion against the deputy president, Rigati Gahagwa. Very
That's why I didn't want
difficult
to say
name
his name
to call.
because I was going to ruin his name. Good job.
Yeah,
Now I can say
yeah.
it. Grazie.
You don't want to murder his name.
Very few vowels, no, all consonants. Accusing him of inciting ethnic hatred. The guy has been accused of inciting ethnic hatred and undermining the government. So it's like the President Ruto is building an alliance against him, like you rightly mentioned, to consolidate power. So the rift between Ruto and Achagua has recently become public, really. He claimed that Gachagua had been sidelined by the president. Now, the Senate supports the motion with two-thirds majority, and that means they could actually impeach him. He's said to respond to some of these charges, which he denies anyway. Some of those charges are like corruption, failure of government, incompetence, and then more importantly, tribalism is the chief of the offenses that he's being accused of, basically. So, like you said, it's just Ruto's subtle way of, factionalizing the House in order to consolidate power because probably sees the deputy president as a threat.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has evidence, but there was protests in Kenya when they wanted to raise prices of food. They wanted to add tariffs. They're being corrupt and they're trying to make people pay prices on sanitary pads for women, for small food, things like that. And now he's blaming the vice president. Even if the vice president is responsible for that, which I don't believe so.
Yeah,
those
because
are for human rights.
that his deputy was actually involved in anti-government protests. I think that's
Oh,
where
his
he
deputy was
crossed the
involved.
line.
Yeah,
That's
but
where
here's
he
the thing:
crossed the line.
Yeah, but my thing is that is anti-government. If you have anti-government protests, is that a crime?
No,
That's
it's
what I
not.
want to know.
It's
Yeah,
not.
but now they want to
But
impeach him.
Ruto will see
But
it
here's the
as
thing:
not being loyal.
but do they have proof? That's the thing. Or is he just saying that? But maybe he's involved because he knows that if Ruto goes down, he'll now be the one to come to replace him. But my thing is that Ruto is coming down hard. He's killing citizens, and now they're putting charges. But my thing on this deputy guy, is he of the same party as Ruto?
Yeah.
That's what I need to know. He also needs to be careful. How can you be in a government position, then you're now leading government protests? To me, there's a conflict there.
Yes.
It's very strange. What do you think, Said? Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So,
Good evening.
on my own opinion about the Gachagua scenario, I think it's just politics to me because you can't tell me your deputy is corrupt. If your deputy is corrupt, so what you the president, you can't say your hands are clean. You guys
And
are
also, he's
running
calling him corrupt, but the guy is actually leading. He's leading. He's
exactly
leading, but he's actually
that's what
fighting
I'm trying to
corruption.
say.
He's
There's
fighting
no way you can
corruption.
say your deputy is corrupt and you are not corrupt. It's not possible.
Corrupt.
I
I know.
think
I
where you
understand
cross
what
the
you're
line.
saying. Sorry to interrupt. I understand what you're saying, but he's actually anti-corruption because he's fighting the government. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think what really got Ruto angry, going from my research and some of the comment of Kenya that I read. So I think where he crossed the line is during the protest that he supported the protest against bad governance and misgovernance and what they did. So I think he now took it as not being loyal to him anymore. So ever since then, even before this impeachment notice, he has been, I think 2 or 3 months ago, Gachagua himself has already been seeing signs that Ruto wants to make a move on him. So it's not as if he see it coming. So he knows that he wanted to move him on. That boils down on how we Africans we play politics. How can you say somebody is corrupt, is not loyal to the government? I really don't understand. Is he supposed to be loyal to the government or loyal to the people?
Well, here's the thing: government is supposed to be for the people.
People, yeah.
And there's a difference
Exactly.
between government and political party. There's a difference between government and political party and who's ruling.
It really
And
baffles me. When their lawmakers are saying that, I was like, are you saying you should be loyal to the government, not to the party? As in, now it's more as if they are in a court group or something. It's more like they are running a court.
no, this is fascism. This is fascism again. If you, for example, John Kennedy in the U.S., they killed him. The American government killed him because he was taking steps to go against the corruption in the government. So we need to realize there's two types of government. Ideal government means to serve the people. Then the other government is the people who are serving. Gachagua, whatever his name is, maybe he's fighting the people who are serving. He's not fighting the government. The government is a sacred entity.
I partially blame the Kenyan citizens for not finishing the job. Assuming they have finished the job, they
tried to get rid of
when they're
Ruto.
protesting that Ruto, they remove Ruto. All this wouldn't have happened. We will have been talking about another scenario entirely.
Yeah, and it's very confusing. We're going to do another show on this because I want to find out what are they charging this guy for. If he, and also I want to find out, was he really involved in the protest? To me, if he was going to be involved in the protest, he should step down as deputy president so that there's no conflict. But I don't think he's committed a crime.
Yeah? It is an accusation. There is no evidence.
Yeah, it's an accusation because Ruto is afraid because Ruto is paranoid. He knows he's losing power, and he knows that this guy is now against him because he has no integrity. Let's go to Lorato. What are your thoughts on this?
He knows.
You might know a little bit more than we do.
Ruto knows that he doesn't. The masses doesn't like him anymore, so he's just looking for how to hang in there and gather his loyalists to make sure that everything is well for his government. That's what he's just trying to do. He's just trying to.
What are your thoughts, Lorato? Yeah, thank you. What are your thoughts, Lorato? Do you have anything enlightening? Because we've all been doing research. I'm trying to get down to the bottom of this because this is a crazy story.
Yeah, no, I mean it sounds like a power struggle to me.
Yeah.
That's happening between the president and his deputy.
Right.
And yeah, I think I hear Sahid's point in terms of the protesters not finishing the job in terms of not following through. But we also have to keep in mind that the protesters were killed. I think about 50 protesters died during those protests. So that must have taken a toll on the morale of some of the people that were fighting.
Only 50. Only 50. Do you know how many people died in Russia to beat Germany? 27 million. Go ahead.
50 human beings. 50 human beings is much, though.
Russia, I know, but Russia lost 27 million people to beat Germany in World War II. You will never be free until you go full out on these guys. I know, but I agree with you guys. Go ahead. I agree. I'm just saying that at some point in Africa, we are not going to get freedom until our blood is shed. That's what I'm saying.
100%. I totally agree with that.
But I'm taking you guys' side though. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay.
Of course, I think the movement of the so-called Gen Z and millennials and all that kind of stuff should have actually and I hope this is what is happening, because I haven't seen anything in terms of what is happening on the ground, in terms of people mobilizing and sort of formulating this movement into a cohesive series of plans and manifestos and ideas that they could push back against the powers that be.
If you're gonna die, make sure you die and you're well organized. That they're not organized. Same thing in Nigeria and bad governance, but nobody wants to talk about changing the constitution. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. I mean, it should be for particular clear reasons. Why all these people who lost their lives had to lose their lives, and I don't think. I mean, beyond them complaining about these new taxes and all those things that were implemented, they didn't get to the broader core of the issues that I think we seem to be generally dealing with throughout the unemployment, things like youth unemployment, um, which is huge. I think it's at like 40% in Kenya. There's about 800,000 people that come into the workforce every year that are struggling to find jobs. And of course, this is now being scaled up against cost of living crisis that I think now is global.
Yeah, but
Given
it's hitting Africa worse because Kenya's
yeah,
money is dependent on the dollar. It's
yeah,
hitting them worse. Yeah.
it's hitting Africa the worst. But also noticing the fact that a lot of food and grain, things like sunflowers are coming from the Ukraine and Russia sort of area. So those areas being
War
engaged
torn.
in war, like both of them being engaged in war, disrupts a lot of trade
Yeah.
that is supposed to be coming down. And we have now guys like Ruto having deciding to fight power struggles as opposed to getting down to the ground and fixing the agriculture of Kenya, for example, in terms of like building capacity to feed people, to have food production, to have better trade, and things like that. And we know also that they've been distracted by the ex-colonial masters that have been sending them to Haiti. And this was, I think,
To go
around
and
the same
send soldiers
time.
to Haiti.
Yeah, this was around the same time that they were having protests in their own country. So they were spending whatever kind of military or whatever kind of foreign investments that they were getting on military actions on foreign grounds, fighting the American and the French proxy wars, with so-called rebels in Haiti. So they are making a lot of I don't know, like miscalculations in terms of how they need to be implementing the power. And I think yeah, the forces that moved to create protest within the Kenyan city need to move to defining what this movement needs to be.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're saying making miscalculations. No, I think the people who are in power are making the right calculations. They don't want to change. And the people who are doing these protests, they don't have any idea what they want to do. They still want to do capitalist democracy. They're not socialists and they don't have an agenda. They just want to end corruption. And they believe that if they change the president, that they have faith in their electoral system. No, it doesn't work. I hate to say it, I'm going to keep it simple. They need a socialist, and I'm not being idealistic. They need a socialist revolution. And what that all that means is that we, the people, control our resources, and the money from our resources is going to be used to build education, technology, and move the country forward. Plain and simple. They don't want to take that level. When they take that level, they say, "Oh no, we're becoming communist. We're becoming like Russia. We're becoming authoritarian." They need to wake up and realize liberalism doesn't work. They're trying to change their country within a liberal capitalistic framework, which doesn't work. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that these independence slash freedom movements created this sort of middle class.
So
So
also funded by the U.S. These freedom movements are funded by U.S. NGOs. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Then there's the so-called middle class, which I don't think necessarily exists, because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
One or two
because
people,
we
somebody that's
cannot.
making $100,000 a year and they work for a small company. They believe they've arrived, so they believe
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
better than
yeah.
the
But
people.
we cannot define a middle class by how much money you owe the bank if you have a housing
Yeah,
loan
yeah, yeah. Well, it just means
and
that middle
car
class
loan.
means that you're safe so long as you continue doing their dirty work. That's what it means.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they will
yeah.
always
But
have a job for those people, even if they owe them. When those people die, they won't have to pay the money back, but they will stay
yeah,
in
yeah,
line.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just stating that, you know, this definition or this misdefinition of what a
Yeah.
middle class is, in terms of a definitive class of people that can actually direct the culture of a nation, is not what they say it is, because their cultural ideals are
Although to be
different.
honest with
They're
you, all of us are
Western,
middle
they're
class
liberal.
because we can go on Zoom and talk now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so those are some of the problems that we face whenever we think we want to have socialist revolutions and things like that, or just like movements for social justice, basic movements for social justice. If you're going to follow the dollar trend and the American trend, then you will never apply those things. They still to this day don't have basic child care. They don't have basic health care. And these are sort of like, this is the leading democracy that we're trying to copy.
Oh yeah, the U.S. But I
Across.
would say Europe has it, but now they're getting to lose it. Now that they're fighting Russia and destroying their economy. But yeah, U.S. doesn't
Yeah.
have basic childcare. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of basic social
But you know what they'll
support.
tell you? They'll tell you that that doesn't fall under justice. That justice is only about crime. They'll tell you that we're libertarians and every man for himself is justice. So if you're poor, who cares? That comes under their concept of justice. Because under their concept of justice means you don't impede anybody else's freedom, but we don't give you things. It's not the government's job to give you things. That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
And
So
I will even agree. It's not justice. Socialism is different from justice. Socialism also goes beyond justice. It goes to humanity and caring for everyone. For example, if I make more money than you because I worked harder than you, I still have to say, and even if you have the same opportunity as me, our socialism is saying that it's not in our welfare for all of us to work collectively and the money is not spent on the welfare of all of us. That might be considered justice, but that becomes a more complicated interpretation of what justice is. Because the white version of justice means if you shoot me, I shoot you. That's what it means. That's what justice
yeah,
means to white people. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean,
He had to take a breath for
those
a
are,
second and say, what the fuck? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
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 And here we have, I mean, we have reports of the Kenyan economic growth slowing for the
Oh, I'm
second.
so surprised. I'm so surprised. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
slowing? Does that mean that it's going from negative to negative or positive to negative?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all they said is that it's down from 5.6, I think, to 4.6 in terms of
I
growth.
never believe Kenya has an
4.6.
economy. The economy isn't zero because they owe money to America. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, whatever kind of trade that is happening within the country
It's
has
a failed
slowed.
state. It's a failed state.
Yeah.
All right, so let's
Um.
move on. Thank you. Well, I'll give you
Sure.
one more minute because I wanted you to get all your points without me interrupting. Just you can round it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think this slowing of the growth of the economy is also affecting other issues. Um, and there's still now this kind of intervention from Western nations who are urging Kenya to like seek IMF reviews in terms of their own financial status, or
Hmm.
um, to unlock more lending that they should make from the IMF. Um, yeah, so it's like it's a little bit of a mess.
It's a big mess. And what we're seeing is that the countries. So let's take a look at the countries in the world. Countries. South Africa is non-aligned and is working with they're working with BRICS. Their economy is not doing so bad. It's doing bad, but it's not doing bad because of geopolitics. It's doing bad because there's a wealth inequality in South Africa. But in general, South Africa is stable. Burkina Faso and those countries are becoming better. Nigeria is suffering. Uganda is suffering. Nigeria and Uganda are going backwards. Kenya is going backwards. Rwanda is going backwards. The same thing all these countries are having. common is that they are traitors to African unity because they stand with U.S. and with they stand with colonial anti-black organizations, which tell them what to do. That's all I have to say. What do you think, Folabi?
Yeah, I agree with you. I just feel this Gachagua's issue is political in nature. And another interesting thing is that Ruto himself has refused to talk. You know, his silence speaks volumes. You know,
sounds like Quincy Williams after a Manchester United game.
If he comes out, he should actually come out to say, okay, there's no evidence, all these allegations.
Oh, you mean Garacho is being quiet or Ruto?
Ruto is being quiet, you know. So
but Ruto is the one that's behind the allegations against that guy. Yeah.
No, it's the members of parliament, 291.
You're right. But I think Ruto is behind it. I think he's behind it.
Yes, he's behind it because that's a lot. 291 member of parliament is a lot. What is required is 117, but you have 291. So it's obvious that they want the guy out so that Ruto can consolidate his power because he somehow sees that Gachagua's meddling with politics by sponsoring and encouraging protests will diminish his influence in that place. So basically, and they're from the same, I think they're from the same tribal region. And he feels threatened, basically. So I feel that this thing is political, but they will have to prove it. They will have to prove it, really, because there's really no
evidence. We don't have any proof. And in fact, I think we're wasting our voice because we're talking about this and nothing's going to change. That's just the truth. So let's go to our Warif. What are your last thoughts on this before we move to the next topic?
What I'll say is that African leaders, they are just selfish. And Africa is still the center of modern slavery. And also the security agents, they are the cause of whatever thing is happening in Africa. Like what my brother said, that in Kenya, they killed about 50 persons. How? If not for the security personnel, why would they kill those people? Because the security personnel, they are working for those selfish African politicians. Because now they put fear into those guys that once they come out, they'll be massacred or they'll be killed. So Africans, some of them, they love their life. They wouldn't want to come out. But if life, they work according to the rights to life, that everybody has the right to live. You see that the security personnel, they don't use live bullet on people. They'll come out. But the African politicians, they bought the security personnel over to themselves. So they are all working in collaboration. Now, we're talking about being loyal to the, to the people. Instead of being loyal to the masses, they are loyal to themselves and their masters. Even if you want to be loyal, you have to be loyal to your party, but you represent the people. You're supposed to adapt to the opinion of the people, as long as they are saying the right thing. But instead, they are just after themselves, saying, look, like in Kenya now, they're saying the other person is corrupt. What's the criteria? Do you have any proof to show that the person is corrupt? But maybe they just want to remove the person so that they can have their way. If somebody in politics, once you say the truth and you're against them, they turn against you and tell you that they just look for something, an allegation, and place it on you. So I think African politics, you have a long way to go. That's just it.
Yeah, and like I said, at this point, I'm even tired of talking about it because nothing's going to change. We don't have proof. It doesn't matter if we have proof. What we know is that Kenya is being mismanaged and there's corruption throughout the government. And we know that Kenya's government is running a capitalistic system which doesn't care about its citizens. And nothing is happening. So we'll move on to the next thing.